I'm Emma Detweiler, and today I will be presenting Article 1 for my research project. The article is entitled Creating the Trauma to Prison Pipeline, How the U.S. Justice System Criminalizes Structural and Interpersonal Trauma Experienced by Girls of Color. My research question is, to what extent does the trauma to prison pipeline put incarcerated women at risk for sexual abuse in male guard-dominated prisons? I've broken up my research question into two parts: breaking down and exposing the trauma to prison pipeline, and sexual abuse in female prisons with mostly white guards. This article will be focused more on the first part of my research question. Summary of the article is the article Creating the Trauma to Prison System Pipeline by Diana Baumel covers the significant number of women in the justice system who fell victim to the sexual abuse to prison pipeline. It also focuses on some of the trauma responses that have been criminalized, which push trauma-induced women into the system. And then it goes into some possible policy changes that could break down the pipeline. Some of the connections from the article to my research questions include the sexual abuse to prison pipeline, meaning facts regarding this issue will be used to set a definition of what exactly the abuse to prison pipeline is and how it brings so many previously abused women into the system. Also includes trauma responses that have been criminalized, regarding specific behaviors that triggered by sexual or other types of trauma that have been criminalized, which may result in higher rates of traumatized women being incarcerated. And lastly, some possible policy changes, which will bring the argument aspect of my research paper, answering the question, what can be done to make actual change in regards to dismantling the pipeline? Some important quotes from the article that will be easy to use in my research include, despite the fact that women and girls have not increased their criminal activity, a staggering 86% of incarcerated women have experienced sexual abuse at some point in their lives. Additionally, 77% of incarcerated women report being victims of intimate partner violence, and 60% report being victims of abuse and violence by their caregiver. This connects my research because it gives actual statistics that illustrate the clear connection between sexually abused women and incarcerated women. Another quote is, additionally, hypersexuality is a relatively common trauma reaction, and so girls who actively pursue sexual encounters as a result of their trauma may also be penalized for prostitution and other sex offenses. This quote is really important for my research because it highlights the specific link between women with sexual trauma, and hypersexuality that may allow them to fall into sexual relations or assault by male prison guards once they're in the system. It also provides a reasoning for why they might be arrested in the first place. Considered prostitution charges and sex work are both criminalized. Lastly, we have the last quote is, prostitution could be completely eliminated as a crime among juvenile populations, while assault could sometimes still result in juvenile justice involvement, but only insofar as it's considered in the entire context, including whether and how the assault is related to prior trauma. This connects my research because it provides an actual policy change that could weaken the pipeline.